If you can go to school and work for 80% of your week, you can build your dream life for 20%. Recently, I've been looking back at the past 5 years of my life because I wanted to figure out what really got me to where I am now today. And there's a clear pattern I've noticed. It always started with a hit of awareness. I realized that life was becoming stagnant. Yes, I went to the gym. Yes, I worked on my businesses, but things just seem to stay the same. We all recognize this, but what many fail to realize is that whenever you're working towards something, there's also a force working the other way around. Something is working against it. This is called the law of entropy. Basically the law of everything falling into chaos if not looked after. Because you might have been putting effort into something, but that effort needs to be stronger than the law of entropy. It needs to be stronger than chaos. Anyways, let's get back to the story. After those moments of awareness, there always followed a moment of extreme learning. I consumed educational content, looked for books to solve that problem in my life, and became obsessed. A week went by and I realized I was getting too extreme. So I looked for a balance, a holistic approach. And it was during those moments where my business scaled, my relationships improved, and my goals were reached. We have been told a lie. The lie of grind mode or lock-in. And I'm sure you've heard it before. I've talked about it on this channel quite some times, how this lock-in mode or grind set or whatever you want to call it is basically just a scam. And I know for some people in some scenarios it might be valuable to lock in a little bit. However, what happens 99.9% of the time is people get very extreme about the one thing, dropping everything around them like spirituality, their mental health, their energy and their physical health. And so after a few days, or in some cases even one day, they get burned out to the point of having zero motivation, zero energy, and they are basically back where they started. What you have to realize is that there's a universal law you're fighting against, the law of rhythm. Now, when I learned about this law of rhythm in the book called The Kybalion, which is basically just Hermetic ancient Egyptian philosophy and spirituality, during the period of consuming that information, I realized something that have made the progress that I've made for the past 3 months literally outshine the progress that I've made over the past 5 years. And I'm not even over exaggerating. For example, at first I had to work on my business for about 6 hours a week. And then a few months ago, I scaled that down to only having to work for 2 hours a week. But now having this more holistic understanding of the law of rhythm and the way that your body and your human spirit actually works, I literally only have to work on that business for 30 minutes a day. And it literally sustains my entire lifestyle. Now, before we continue, you need to let go of a certain belief. From now on, forget the idea that more work equals more results. That's not the case. Just let go of that belief completely, because if you don't, then what I'm about to say won't click with you even one single bit. Because for the few people who are watching this video without an ego, that haven't built a wall around themselves saying that they don't want to change, which is hopefully you, the routine that I'm about to give you will save you time, make you earn more money in the meanwhile, improve your mental and physical health, and give you a deeper sense of meaning. So what is my holistic routine? Now, a holistic way of living is not that you simply balance out everything, and it's also not that you meditate for 7 hours a day, only drink smoothies and sit outside every single day. Yes, to be honest, I do those things quite often, but that's not the basic promise of this lifestyle. It means that every part of life, being work, rest and fun, all work in synergy. Now I'll give you the perfect example of what the holistic lifestyle doesn't consist of. This is basically the lifestyle that most people nowadays live, and trust me, it doesn't lead you anywhere good. Wake up, get 7 negative thoughts but ignore them, sit down and get to work on a meaningless dropshipping business, feel groggy and kind of stiff after 30 minutes but continue because you're locked in, work ineffectively for exactly 47 minutes, nothing big was done during the first work session, but well, we're still locked in. Don't go outside for a nice walk and greet the sun, but eat a cheap source of processed protein and work more. Now already after 70 minutes of work you feel very tense, unmotivated and mostly low in energy. So you drink a ton of coffee to get back into it. At first you feel energized again, but after 21 minutes your cortisol rises and you turn into a state of constant anxiety. And well, the rest of the day kinda continues like that. And you'd be amazed how many people actually live this way day to day. They're in a constant fight with reality, but this really doesn't lead anywhere. If you look at nature, our greatest teacher, you can see that it flows, it feels, it adapts, and it just listens. It does not force anything, but it still gets so much done. I mean, just look around in nature and tell me that it isn't a work of art. You should feel your way through life. And when I say that, I do not mean in this feminine, impulsive way where you just react upon your circumstances all the time. That's not me trying to be negative on the idea of femininity. It's just a simple observation that people with a more feminine essence basically live that way. And it's a way how I lived for a very long time. And in some moments, it's actually good to just lean into your feminine energy, but that's something for another video. We should feel our deep intuition from the deepest parts of our body. This can be explained in words to a certain degree. It has to be felt. And it can only be felt when the body is open, healthy, and energized, not when you force yourself to lock in. This lifestyle that I'm about to explain to you removes the constant tension from your body. It removes negative thinking, impulsive behavior, and your life will feel more grounded and present. So that leaves you wondering, what actually is my routine? Now, I do have to say that I do not really have a certain strict routine where I follow a certain amount of steps every single morning. I do not have anything hanging above my wall in a piece of paper where everything is written down. I do all these things from a source of intuition. These are the things that I've habituated myself to do. If you want to habituate yourself into living a more meaningful life, then you can watch this video is popping up on the screen somewhere here. But these things basically go automatic for me. I dislike writing down habits and a certain routine on a piece of paper because once again, as I said, you have to feel yourself into these things. But with that being said, I still want to give you the actual things that I do and you can fill them into your day in whatever way you'd like. With that being said, let's get into the actual routine. When I wake up, I greet the sun every single morning. And it's deeper than you think. This honestly sets up my entire day. Literally the first thing I have when I wake up, doesn't matter if I'm waking up alone or not, I go outside and I greet the sun. It starts the internal clock that has been built into us from years of evolution. Ignoring this system is fighting the laws of the universe, remember? You see, the light of the sun, even if it's cloudy, doesn't matter. Even if it's raining, then it'll simply just activate your nervous system a little bit slower. But the light of day activates your body in a way that coffee, food, any single artificial thing never will. And it's literally a non-brainer. Like, why would you not go outside? First of all, it's just a nice refresher after a long night of sleeping inside. And it's so easy to do. It's literally free. You can do it in 5 minutes and it'll make you feel amazing the rest of the day and make you feel nice and sleepy at the end of the day. Now that's not all. I always go outside on my own balcony. So luckily I can go outside there and just do whatever I want there. And in many cases I jump around. Now, you're not expecting me to say on this channel that I jump around every single morning because usually we talk about very deep levels of consciousness, not about jumping around on your balcony in the morning, but this actually activates a system inside of your body that cannot activate in of itself, the lymphatic system. Now, I'm not going to go very deep into it, but the basic premise I want to give you is that when you feel a certain form of stiffness, like there's basically just energy stuck inside of your body, you can't think creatively, maybe your hips feel a little bit stiff, maybe your head kind of feels groggy, right? Then what you can do is just jump around, and this will actually help you with lymphatic drainage. This is actually just a fluid that runs through your body, and it can only run through your body if you move around. And the best way to move around, to actually move this fluid or energy through your body, is by jumping around in the morning. I simply just jump around on my toes with my shirt off, standing in the sun or just simply the daylight, and that's how I start my day. And it improved my health, it improved my workouts, it improved my ability to think creatively, and it improved my connection with the earth. So now your body's internal clock is synced. You're already ahead of 99% of people. Your energy can also move through your body without creating stiffness. And then what? Well, to be honest, the rest of my day usually is based on intuition. And I keep on saying this word intuition a lot, and it might not make sense to some people, but once it clicks, it allows you to actually build a life for yourself that feels good for you, because I can give you some of the things that you can do throughout your day in this video, and the two I have just given you will actually improve your life tremendously. But you have some things that you might like to do when you were young, when you were 5 years old, when you were 10 years old, and you can still do them. You just have to look back at what they were. Some days I wake up and I instantly get to work. Some days I wake up and I just go for a 30-minute walk towards a cafe, drink some coffee, talk to people in the city. It really differs every single day, and you're an individual with free will, so you need to learn to be able to feel once again in the deepest part of your body what you want to do right now. Do not listen to your thoughts. Do not listen to the gurus telling you to have a single strict routine every single day, because you will be fighting the law of the universe. It's as simple as that. By following this intuition, which once again is with you in every single moment of the day, you will start getting into a higher vibrational mental state. Basically just the feel-good state. A state where you're happy, focused and creative. And basically the goal of all these habits and these routines is to get you into that state during most times of the day, because once you're in that state, you will not do anything that doesn't get you closer to your dream life. No one scrolls on TikTok when they feel at peak mental health. No one eats junk food after a perfect workout. One last thing I want to say to you is, if you do not have a certain mission in life, then make it your mission to get into this high vibrational mental state. It's something that's accessible to us in most times of the day, and by simply listening to your intuition, you can get closer to that very soon. And if you want to directly know how to find out more about building a meaningful life and getting more clarity on your mission, then you can watch the video that's popping up on the screen right now. This was a short one today and I hope you enjoyed it. Remember, links in the description, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.